Good morning, everybody. This is David Knox coming to you live on our first Monday Administrator and Webinar Manager webinar. And for those of you to whom this is the first time, we do this once a month, first Monday of every month. Having said that, next one we're going to do the 31st of August because it's the first Monday before the first Tuesday. And we invite guest speakers from different companies. We have speakers. We have any number of people that are kind enough to invest their time and help us out on these webinars. So we really hope you enjoyed. It's a member benefit. So welcome to joining me, and let's get started. First of all, our next webinar is going to be Monday, August 31, and again, the reason for that is the first Tuesday is when we kick everything off, and after that it's Labor Day, so that made no sense at all. I'll talk to you today about the July and August 2015 videos. We did not do a webinar last month, so we'll cover a couple of months here. And our guest presenter is Marty Reuter, and I did spell his name correctly there, Marty. And quick new feature, just to let you know, the welcome emails, anytime you guys add a new agent to your roster, they now say, you know, instead of saying the words your company, it'll actually have your company. I wish we'd have done that a long time ago, but that was a little fix that we made. So the email should have come out to all of you over the weekend, and the purpose of this email is to we only email this to administrators and managers. We stopped emailing to agents because they are for a billion reasons. But this email comes out, and these links take them right to the new videos for the month. And the what's new for August, that actually goes to a public page so they don't have to log in and see it. But we encourage you to forward this email to every person in your company so they know which videos are new. So again, I am not emailing your agents. I'm only emailing branch managers and administrators. So forward it. We also have the new agent user guide. That's a great thing to download, email to people. And remember, you can bring me into your meetings by Skype or, gosh, I had Facebook with a guy in Australia the other day. So it's a great way to, you know, to take advantage of me to do a little live 15-minute presentation in your office meetings. There's the user guide that I mentioned. And back to this, you know, this was a video I did the other day. The agents love it. You know, they sit there and they laugh, and we do Q&A back and forth. So there's a lot of different ways for me to use it. But I've been offering this all year long, and I talked to one guy. I said, how come you didn't invite me? I don't know how to use Skype. Well, you know, you can figure that out. I want to remind you again, Real Estate Live number 25 is all uploaded. It took forever to get it up there because it's just a huge beast of a project, but it is some of the best video we have ever uploaded. You get absolute unprecedented access to the number 15 team in the United States. Kathy Kaler, her daughter Heather Bortnick, you get to watch them on 3 different listing presentations, and it goes through there's 8 segments of this, and this is not one of these quick videos where you sit down and watch it and run out the door. Sit down with a pot of coffee and a legal pad and a pen and take your time and learn how to do this. For those of you managers, maybe you do, I don't know, 1 a week for 8 weeks, but then again, I wouldn't want to wait 8 weeks to learn this. I'd want to get through it and learn it. And it also takes you through my favorite structure of a listing presentation that goes through the 8 parts, so please watch that. Last month we did our July KFT was KFT 88, Understanding the High-End Client, with Lori Lane. Lori is in charge of the luxury division of one of our members in Atlanta, Georgia, and really kind of introduces people on how to work the luxury market. KFT 89 is what we did this month, and I heard a guy named Dr. Robert Cialdini, one of the best presenters on persuasion and motivation, and one of his segments is called the Law of Contrast, and it just perfectly applies to real estate. And we've already got some good comments on it. I guess the first gentleman, you know, well done, sir, powerful concept, loving the videos, great way to start the day, bravo, excellent. Yes, persuasion is a two-edged sword, used with integrity, you'll be powerful. So happy to see the early reviews on it. KFT 04, that was done 5 years ago, maybe, I guess, 4 from 89, 85 months ago, and it was a popular video. So I thought, you know what, let's update it. It just needed updating, and that's great on dealing with commission and not being a commodity. Back to our quick tips, you know, the little 2, 3, 4 minute videos. We did one called No Power, and it doesn't mean having no power. It means the power to say no. QT09, quick 2-minute video on how to use video and following up. And QT10, Landon Miller talks about how to be a person in open houses and things like that. And now I am very excited to present a good friend of mine, Marty Reuter. Marty and I go back, I'm pretty sure, to the late 90s, and he has been involved with both Century 21, and he's now the president of Weichert Real Estate Affiliates. He's a fourth-generation realtor, began his life in real estate fourth generation in Philadelphia, PA. And in terms of brokerage, he's had experience in residential and commercial leasing, property management. He's just an amazing wealth of experience. 20 years with Century 21 as a senior vice president, and he was responsible for sales, management training, corporate relocation, and a lot of the other franchise services worldwide. And now he is the co-founder and president of Weichert Real Estate Affiliates, and he expanded their system to nearly 300 offices in 38 states. And the Swanepoel report recognized the number 66 in the Power 200 list of real estate movers and shakers. And I've spent a lot of time with Marty, and he's truly a wonderful guy, a great gentleman, and very talented. And Marty, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. How's everything going with you?
Everything's going great, David. I hope you can see me on the screen here.
Well, I'm going to switch presenter view to you.
Okay.
And you can accept that.
I just did. Thank you for having me, David, and welcome everybody. It's been as David mentioned, I've been in the real estate business for a very long time. Actually, it's 55 years, which I think may be too long, because the longer we are in the business, I think the more that experience gets in the way of progress. Change is coming at us so fast we can barely see the present when it's already disappearing. I like the way it's always been is not a very good excuse today. What's happening is a wonderful real estate market right now. We are in a fabulous market right now. And what we're from the most recent NAR report, existing sales are up and pending sales are up and new construction is up. Last year at this time, NAR was predicting a 4 to 5% growth rate in housing sales, and currently it's 9.6. So it's almost twice what was actually being predicted. Here at Weichert, where my boss is very optimistic, he was expecting a 15% increase for us. He didn't. He wanted to far outweigh what the NAR averages were going to be. And so far, same-store sales, that's without the addition of new offices, we are up 14%. So the question always is for everyone here, are you staying ahead of the market or are you staying with the market? Sometimes we can get confused because when the market is really cooking, we can, some salespeople tend to start coasting. In fact, some managers tend to start coasting as well. It's what I call drafting, where you follow the leader and everyone's doing better, but at the same time, you're not gaining any place. With more customers and more money, there's this tendency to coast. So with renewed opportunity, are we doing the same? Are we doing maybe just a little bit better? Maybe we're doing the same thing easier and less stressful and perhaps not working as hard. A lot of us are very busy, but I don't know if we're really gaining during all of this busyness. There's also during this time, we tend to lighten up. We tend to start spending more money wastefully. We start to drop phone calls. We start to pick and choose which customers we want to do. And we're also tend to kind of lay off our agents to quit recruiting, etc. What I want to cover today are the challenges within the industry that still persist. I want to cover what I call key brokerage principles, things that have not changed all these years in the real estate business. I want to talk about what we at Weichert define as the sales manager's role. It may be different than what many of you are currently doing, and I'm sure many of you are doing many other things beside that. The ideal shape of the office is a concept of which broker model, which business model seems to work effectively and efficiently no matter what the market is. Last thing here, almost last thing, is profits on purpose. The fact is that if we're not running a business, we have a very expensive hobby. And last but not least is the way to get out of all this is through targeted recruiting. Please do not confuse busyness with business. What are those disruptors? Well, once upon a time, we had lots of listings and no buyers, and now we have a situation where listing inventories are very, very scarce. There was a slight easing up of inventory over the past year, but that has dried up again, and we're now down to about a 5-month supply of listings, where at one time it may have been over a year's worth. The industry continues to consolidate. We're seeing lots of merger and acquisition activity. We're seeing franchises consolidating. We're seeing at the same time, with all of this consolidation and all of this clamoring for the listings, folks aren't playing so nice in the sandbox anymore. So what we're seeing is a highly competitive environment in which the big seem to get bigger and the small seem to get smaller. Another major disruptor have been changes in business models, whether it's residuals or cap or agent-centric business models or broker-centric business models, and folks saying that they are consumer-centric but not really demonstrating that in real life. We have industry discounters who are pressing our agents to really justify what we are doing for, quote, all of that money. When we go on a listing situation, we need to be telling people the more that we do, for which we deserve more of a fee. And if we cannot answer that question, that becomes very, very difficult. So pressures on commissions downward and pressures on splits going up are certainly eroding broker profitability. And in many cases today, broker profitability consists of what the broker can personally do through personal listings and sales. Add to this is the government, our new Dodd-Frank rules coming up, new efforts to perhaps modify the mortgage interest deduction, some programs which are really designed to curtail employment and investment. So we have what appears to be a new deck stacked against us. Lots of paperwork, ever-changing technology, and I think the most interesting new disruption is coming from the internet. I was recently at a conference in Denver, and the folks from Trulia and Zillow and Realtor.com were there. It was humorous watching the battle going on for the MLSs, trying to get the MLSs to send to direct feed all of their listings right into Trulia, Zillow, or to exclusively give them to Realtor.com. The Trulia Zillow consortium, along with Realtor.com, has now created a situation where over 60% of buyers are going to one of those three units, which puts real estate brokers at a major disadvantage if we're not happy with the aggregation of all of our listings, because 60% of buyers are going there, and we don't have much of a choice at this point. The biggest change within the industry are empowered consumers. There are situations today where not only is it 90% of consumers are starting their search online, but currently 60% of them are finding their property online, which means they're not calling us early, they're calling us even later and later with all of the information that they believe is accurate about the property. So the question is, are we simply a walking lockbox? Is our role now to show a property that's already been viewed, analyzed, priced, mortgaged, everything ready to go? We have unfortunate situations in which agents are simply meeting people in front of the property. That's about 61% currently. Meeting perfect strangers, taking them through the house, that in many cases is a perfect stranger house as well, with a likelihood of less than 5% of the people buying it, the people going home in their car, the agent driving back to your office in their car, frustrated, simply going nowhere. The question is that we all have to answer, what do you provide a buyer that can't be found online? I think this is an excellent question to ask your sales associates at a sales meeting. And I think you're going to see a lot of head scratching. But if you really analyze it, we do much more than simply give back information. Whether your market is hot or cold, whether it's a torrid market or a frigid one, there are key principles of successful brokerages that never ever change. The first is listing. This is foundational for us here at the Weichert organization. The success of my office will be determined by the number of listings obtained that sell. If there's no listings, there are no phone calls. The more inventory you have, the more phone calls you will be getting. So in order to get listings, to maintain a share of listing inventory, really will require heavy doses of prospecting and much more effectiveness in making a listing presentation. Which brings us to rule number 2, that the number of listings obtained at sale is a direct function of the number of salespeople that I hire and train to list. Note that the difference here is not just to hire more people, but to train them to bring in inventory. It's very unfortunate, I believe, that agents are running immediately into buyer specialization and avoiding the listing specialization. That's because they're very uncomfortable. They lack confidence when it gets into matching resumes with some very experienced agents in town. And the reason for this is that the presentations consist of a personal resume instead of a comprehensive marketing plan, and the fact that you're working as a team instead of as individuals. Recruiting cures all ills. If you have more leads than you have agents, if you have difficulty getting agents to show up to hold open houses, get more agents. That's the recruiting cure for everything. So once again, to recruit, it's heavy doses of prospecting and having a very effective recruiting presentation. A real challenge in recruiting agents has been what I call the revolving door, the frustration, particularly if you're going after brand new people. I believe that the NER number is still correct, that 70% of new agents fail within the first year. And the reason why they actually do so is because we tend to throw them into the swimming pool and say swim, when in fact they need swimming lessons and they need guidance. They need the lifeguard in the pool with them, and that is you and I. So how I start new salespeople will result in their success or will have earned me the right to let them go, which means that with recruiting there's an obligation to train, to mentor, to counsel, to encourage. Because the more often that you earn the right to let them go, the less often that you're going to have to. I have my friend Donald Trump here. It's going to be interesting hearing him Thursday night, but he's very good at firing people. And I think that if we fire folks, if we let people go who are not cutting it, we can only do so if we have indeed lived up to our end of the bargain and given them the training and the mentoring that they will need. Which gets us into a rather controversial statement that I make all the time. There's no such thing as bad business. There's only bad management. Good management got us through the recession. Good management ought to get us into a situation in today's market where we're not coasting, but we're indeed growing. A good friend of mine is Michael Gerber. Michael wrote the book, The Entrepreneurial Myth. And in it, Michael states that most entrepreneurs are merely technicians with an entrepreneurial seizure. Michael adds, most fail because they're too busy working in their business rather than on the business. Rather than rely on the skills of great people, the business empowers ordinary people to perform in extraordinary ways. And here's the key. The system runs the business. The people run the systems. Because if you can build a business that works and thrives without your having to be there all the time, having to do all the personal production, you've put yourself in control of both your business and your life. On the other hand, if your business relies on you, depends on you, you don't own a business. You have a job. Systems ensure that what needs to get done gets done consistently, professionally, every customer, every transaction, every agent, every time. I think a key example are the number of photographs on your listings. Some MLSs allow 25, 30, even 40 photographs or more, and yet when I go to MLSs, I'll see listings with 5 or 6 when you're allowed to have 25 or more, and that's because we're allowing the agents to make that decision as to how many photographs are online, the actual property descriptions online, etc. So great systems drive the business, says Gerber. Great people drive the system, says Gerber. And Marty here has added his own, great leaders drive the people. If there's anything that is deficient in the real estate business today, it's this gap of leadership, this void of leadership. So there's a concept in business management called shadow of the leader. And wherein those in positions of leadership and power, through their behavior and actions, influence the behavior and actions of those below them. thus casting a shadow across the organization. So the question is, what kind of example, what kind of shadow are you casting within your office? It's really reflected in not always what you do, but what you say and how you act and how you measure. What is it that you really measure, and what are priorities to you? Team members tend to look at you for clues as to what is important, how to get ahead in the company, and how to really fit in. So the person who can really keep things going in the office is the professional sales manager. You're a catalyst, and like any good catalyst, you ignite the chemical reaction, but you don't necessarily have to participate in it. At Leiker, we define the sales manager's role and responsibility in 5 different areas: recruiting, training, supervising, motivating, and dehiring. The concept of dehiring is that idea of how I start new salespeople will result in their success or earn me the right to let them go. The more often I earn the right to let them go, the less often I will have to. All of this, of course, is wrapped around a written business plan. There's a tendency in brokerages to spend most of our time doctoring deals. But the best anecdote, the best dose of daily activities are listing and recruiting. That cures everything. Which brings us to our now thing. What is the shape of your office? Is it top heavy, bottom heavy? Is it all sorts of iterations and body types in between? At our company, we believe in what's called the solid middle. This is not my gut. But there are basically 4 different kinds of agents. There are your A agents, or what I call trophies or top producers. At the bottom end of the cycle here are brand new people, rookies. We have offices that say, I want nothing but top agents. We have other people who say, just give me new people so I can mold them into my image and likeness. When a new person joins you and they get 2 deals and an attitude, they become a teenager. They get full of themselves and they start to ask for higher splits, and other companies are starting to talk to them because after all they've done 2 deals, and the reality is that you've probably handed it to them. But like any teenager, we kind of have to work through it. We got to pray through it. We got to love them through it, and they become solid citizens, what I call team players. Our concept is that you need mostly team players. In our world, the offices are averaging about 60 agents, 40 of whom are what I call B agents. We define a B agent as one who does, on average, a deal a month, where all of your people, or most of your people, those 40 of the 60 people, are doing a sale every month on average. And I believe that's 3 times the industry average, which is hovering between, let's say, 4 deals a year, and I believe it should be 12 deals a year. So, but all 4 types are needed. You need a steady flow of new people because trophies leave, trophies retire, and teenagers oftentimes are seduced elsewhere. So our world is mostly B agents, where our agents are competent and confident and doing enough business that we are very pleased with what they are doing, and probably have a little bit of drama. They have less drama and less divaism that many offices that are dominated by top agents have. But if you have B agents, you need someone to lead them. Which gets us into a situation is with B agents, you have a business that is worth owning, because typically you don't require a lot of management once they become a B. You don't require as much training once they reach that level, and your splits are probably reasonable. So you have a situation where if most of your agents are doing a deal every month, you have lots of revenue coming in, and thus you have a business that is worth owning. A lot of folks ask me, what is my business worth? Well, the value of your business really depends on its profitability, but its profitability as adjusted, because most P&L statements that I've seen have high amounts of revenue that are dominated or produced by the broker owner or the spouse of the broker owner. And I oftentimes say to them, if most of this is yours, did you allow for a split payable to you that would otherwise be payable to someone else? Because if I'm going to buy your company and you're going to stay on, I don't think you're going to continue to work for free. nor do I think you're going to continue to manage the company for free or to be the janitor for free. So once we take the profitability as adjusted, we multiply that by an industry multiplier. Right now, anywhere between 2 and 4 times, and I would say safely about 3 times the adjusted profit is what the business is worth. But if you're not producing a profit, it doesn't matter which multiplier you are actually using. Profitability is not a 4-letter word. The way to be profitable, in my opinion, is to do more deals, more revenue, which means more agents, higher productivity from each agent, and to milk every dollar of ancillary income that you can. Don't consider it to be gravy, consider it to be an important part of your profitability. The second formula for profitability are the splits that you're paying your agents. We at Weichert subscribe to a rolling quarter average in which agent splits are adjusted upwards or downwards on a quarterly basis based on the previous production. We also recommend having 2 splits, one for agent-generated business that is extremely competitive, and a separate one for company-generated business that is not as competitive and much more generous to the company that is producing it. We're finding out that 35 or more % of our sales coming in are company-generated versus agent-generated, and for that reason, we have a much better company dollar as a result. The last element of profitability, of course, are expenses. Most real estate offices are stuck with empty space, what I call furniture showroom with kids' pictures to make it look homey. But we are investing about 125 square feet per agent when it needs to be more in the area of 50. We're also seeing offices having too much staff based on individual functions instead of cross-training. And the last thing in marketing, of course, are what we're spending in advertising and promotions, and are we really measuring to see what kind of return we are getting from it. Which gets us back to the solution to everything, recruiting. We believe that you should be targeting the agents that you want. We think they should fit in. We think they should fit into your business model. We think they should fit into your company culture. Hire people that fit your model. Don't change your model to fit them. Hire people with positive experience, who have experience interacting with others, who have the ability to work a crowd to say hello to people. Those whose image and demeanor upholds the company image and reputation. And folks who are dissatisfied with their life and want to do something about it because their dreams and goals are more important than the status quo. They also have some sort of a sphere. If you're trying to break into a market, hire people who live or drink there. That's the best way to do it. Our formula at Weichert is 70-30-30. By that I mean to go after 70% new people and 30% experienced people. And of the 30% experience, 30% of them are less than 3 years in the business, what I call the not so experienced. So do associates precisely know what their role is? It's important and what's expected of them. We recommend in recruiting that to use a document called an expectation letter in which you clearly word out what you're willing to do and what you expect of agents with respect to time invested, training, number of open houses, and daily business activities. A very alarming number came out of the NAR profile. It's been showing up for the last couple of years. Namely that the median age of real estate home buyers is 36 years of age. Last year that number was 37, and I'm sure if I checked the year before it was 38. Meanwhile, the median age of realtors is 57, and I know that last year it was 56, and I imagine if I checked back 2 years before it was 55. So the obvious is here that the buyer is getting younger and the realtor is getting older. 90% of all realtors are under age 45. Only 3% are less than 30 years of age. 24% of realtors are age 65 and older, which means we have a serious recruiting problem for the future. So what are you doing to young up your office, to make it more attractive to new agents who can come in and service this emerging group of new buyers. We have a program at Weichert called Gen Weichert, which is designed to attract 80 million new consumers, and the way to best do that is to recruit agents to work them. The reasons for agents joining us today have certainly changed. Independent contractor is not one of them. What millennials want from their boss are a career path, a next step, next step, next step, not just to sell real estate. So whether it's to invest in real estate or to have their own office or to manage one of your branches, there needs to be a career path which tells them that there's a future here. They want straight feedback. They want fairness and transparency. They demand training and coaching. It's not something that they're saying, don't tell me what to do. Instead, they're saying, tell me what to do. They want a formal development program that you can talk about and promise as part of your recruiting them. They want a flexible schedule, which means that they do want the flexibility for a personal life. But you'll find out that in the hours that they are working, they really put forth the effort during those hours. They want an atmosphere of teamwork, and they want excitement and challenge. So we're seeing offices take down their cubicles and becoming more like the new hotel lobbies are today, with lots of open space and lots of noise and energy. They want the opportunity to hang out together, to have socialization. So sales meetings are moving more into social events and less into informational events because of intranets and other ways that agents can retrieve ordinary information that used to be covered only at sales meetings. Career nights are back. Ours are Tuesday evening is our recommendation, and we're finding out that with weekly prospecting, weekly calling, weekly inviting customers to consider our career in real estate, that we're really filling them up. Our theory is not to interview new people, but to get them interested in going to real estate school and to let the school be the major filtering device for them. We find out that half of them go, that half of them graduate, and about half of them go into full-time status with us. So if you're looking for young people, campus recruiting is in particularly community colleges. Talk to the colleges about an internship program, particularly in the summertime or off-season, and have an apprenticeship program and mentoring program which enables people to get the kind of guidance and shadowing that they really require. And by all means, do not say it takes 6 months to make it in this business. Let's talk about a check in 60 days, namely that if they do what we are recommending that they do, if they follow our lead, that they should be assured of a sale within the first 30 days and a check in the 30-day period following it. Here's a picture of one of our ladies who received a company-generated lead, which is one of the benefits of having them because we just fed it to her and helped her get her first deal, which was a $6,200 check. That's quite an inspiring situation for her, but also for others getting into the business. So the future you see is the future that you get. Challenge in real estate is we're so busy, we're so into the weeds that we're not staring up and ahead to see where we are going. What will your business look like 10 years from now? This is something that we have to envision and then to really plan. You can't get around hard work. You just can't get by it. What you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. So once again, the manager's role is to recruit like crazy, to train those who he recruits, to supervise them, to practice them, that they apply what they have learned, to motivate them during normal ups and downs, and to say goodbye sooner than you would ordinarily want to, than you would ordinarily have to do, because you really earned the right to do so. All wrapped around that long-term written business plan for the future. So I believe, David, that management does make a difference. I think that what people do on a day-to-day basis is not subject to fate. It's subject to will and purpose. And with that, I'm open for any kind of questions, and thank you so much for your time.
Oh man, Marty, thank you. I'm taking notes here, and I burned up a pen. There's so much here to cover, and while I'm waiting for some people to write some questions if they want, I like your point to keep training skills. Just because things are going well doesn't mean you let up. I understand that it's certainly easy to do that, and I'm going to switch presenter view back to me. So I certainly know it's easy to do that. And you know, you were talking about how does the internet make the difference, and it occurred to me one of the biggest differences we as real estate companies can do is answer the phone. That's the one thing that Zillow and Truly and all that stuff cannot do. So I think that's going to be one of our points of difference. And you know, you talk about new agents seeking out buyers versus listings, and of course that's been going on for a long time, and it occurred to me that for all of our members, we've got so many new videos on getting them into the listing, so take advantage of what we offer through our online training to start getting these agents to go for listings and not just caving into the easy route and going for buyers. The other thing, socialization. I'm glad you said that, Marty, because I think people forgot that agents are social creatures. They want to be in and hang around people. I know when I do live seminars, I've done it for you, Marty, and many of you listening, agents absolutely love it. They get a kick out of it. They're still human beings. I don't care how technological we get, they like it. So have more meetings and fun and parties or whatever. Do the stuff like that. And as far as the flexibility for new agents, the good news is members of RET, they've got flexibility. They can watch it on their iPhone, iPad. By the way, the Android app is coming out pretty soon. And as far as dehiring, we have a whole series of videos on dehiring. So be sure to check those out. Let's see if somebody... Lauren asked, Marty, can we get the slides? Marty, what do you think of that?
Certainly.
Okay.
I'll just send them. I'll just send them to you, David. No problem at all.
Yep. Well, Marty, thank you very, very much. I know on webinars we don't get a whole ton of questions because people kind of get tired up. But Marty, thank you very much. And for all of you listening, we are going to obviously post the recording. And Marty, I'll keep you on for a second. But yeah, we'll get the recruiting to you, and you can send it out to your agents. Let's read this. Marty, thank you for a great presentation. With so many agents working remotely or needing another job to supplement their income until they can transition to real estate full-time, how do you get better attendance to your sales meeting? There's a good question. That's coming from Rose.
Well, sales meetings have become less informational, less routine about price reductions or here's a new property. Those things can be done online through a company intranet. You can do all sorts of things like that. So our traditional sales meeting has morphed into a less frequent get-together that is more social, training-oriented, panel discussions with existing agents, etc. One of our franchisees is doing it very well. He calls his sales meetings a power hour, and boy, it's powerful. There's a lot of testimonials. There's a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with the business, but it has everything to do with managing your personal life. And for that reason, it's like going to church, and folks are showing up for those as well. The socialization is one that I'm firm believer in. Folks want to have fun in this business, and in the process of fun, they can make money at the same time. So it's just a question of setting the tone. Management sets the temperature. I go into some offices and they're high energy, and I look at the leader, and the leader is highly energetic. I go into some, and I think I'm at a funeral, where it's a funeral parlor, where everything is quiet, and everyone says, "Gee, he loves himself." And once again, it's a shadow of the leader. I say to my brokers, I don't care how you feel in the morning, fake it, because your agents don't want to see that. They want to see you up, so fake it.
I appreciate you asking, Rose, and to all of you, gosh, I think the sales meeting's got to start getting to be fun. My advice has always been start on time and end on time. Once they know you start late, they'll never be on time again. And if you run over, they're not going to like that either. So start, end on time. Obviously, you've got our videos. You can pick a video. And I think find one or two agents in your office who are influencers and ask one of them to do a presentation, because if they're going to do a presentation for 15 minutes, they're going to want their fellow agents to come. So try that out. See, Kathy Spencer, I'd like to know more about commission on a quarterly basis. I'm always deathly afraid of discussing commission in a group, so maybe, Kathy, you can chat with Marty.
It's just adjusting your commissions up or down based on what the agent did on a quarter instead of a calendar year.
Okay, so...
People roll back in January every year, and the month of December is free agency time. So agents start to shop to see if they can get a better deal, and they actually come back and say, well, listen, you know, I can get a better deal, and here I am going to be rolled down to my basic rate in January, to which most brokers chicken out. And I say, why don't you adjust upwards or downwards on a quarterly basis?
Great idea.
That's all it means.
Good. It's a great idea. Another lady, Cynthia, says it was great. Bob, great stuff. Looking forward to reviewing and digesting the slides. Kathy Spencer says thanks. I'm going to finish up a couple of slides and see if there's any more questions. So, Marty, thank you. And very quickly, for those of you, you may have heard Marty and I talk about our new videos, Pricing Your Home to Sell and Preparing Your Home to Sell, all brand new this year. And a lot of agents are doing them online, unlimited sending. And one of the things we do is a showcase page where you can put a website of all of our videos, or a page on your website, and show them. And oh, hey, just got Ernie Pinkert said, on my way to Inman and SF, this was one of the best presentations of the year. Thank you, Marty. Hey, thanks, Ernie. I knew Marty would like to hear that. And by the way, we do our consumer videos online. We have company subscriptions, and now that all of our videos are really getting updated, I want, for those of you who are interested, you can post all these videos and have all your agents do unlimited sending of all of our consumer videos, and we have some amazing prices for the videos. So check me out, and I'll help you with that. And I'm just going to wrap up and go back here and say thank you, Marty. And before I shut everything off, I'm just going to see if there's anything else for Marty. It looks like that's done. Hey, Ernie, maybe give me a call before you head off, then, when I want to just say hello to you. So, Marty, I'm going to conclude saying thank you very much for your participation today. Got some great feedback. And for all of you listening, I really, really, really appreciate your membership in our online training. You know I will do anything to help you guys improve your business. So thanks for your membership. Thanks for your attendance today. And I wish you a lovely August of getting lots of listings. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.